And now, Jocelyn, would you like to talk about the fastest nerfs we've ever seen in the history of this game we like to call Hearthstone?
I think we should, because I mean, we talked to death almost about what it felt like to face and play Demon Hunter on ladder, and I don't know, there's just so many things that are still the same with that conversation, but also have changed. And I don't know. I can't believe that they went in and nerfed as quickly as they did. It's incredible.
It is nuts. Like that they, yeah, I'm if I could be simultaneously surprised and not surprised, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. I thought that they would nerf it. I thought that they would nerf it fairly quickly, but I was not expecting like literally within 24 hours, bam, nerfs.
Well, it's such a beautiful example too, I think, at least in my experience of never being able to please anybody, because I have literally seen equal amounts of people tweeting at us, at the show and me. Why couldn't they let this simmer a little bit longer? I just want to enjoy the ridiculousness of Demon Hunter. And how could they possibly have not realized how broken this is? Like, I'm seeing like equal amounts of both of those, and I'm just here going, I'm pretty happy with how this has unfolded. I'm glad that we got like 24 hours of absolute insanity, because I love looking back on this stuff. I love looking back at everyone running through the Dark Portal and Burning Crusade and crashing servers. And of course, in hindsight, we go, how could they ever have thought that putting every player in the game through the exact same door could have possibly ended in any other way? I like it. It's a cool part in the game's history. And that's how I feel about this Demon Hunter thing. I am with you. I hated ladder yesterday, Jocelyn. I did not have a great time. But the memory I have, I'm going to really enjoy looking back on and talking about and making jokes about on the show. That's why I like this type of stuff, to explain myself. So, anyways,
fair enough.
Yeah, that's my piece. So, yeah. Anyways, Ixar got on the horn right before we were going to do the show yesterday and announced that changes were coming. And also what I found interesting in this is that the expectation should be that there will be a lot of balance iteration over the next few weeks. We'll be making changes a little more frequently until we feel that Demon Hunter is in a fun, unique, and balanced state. So expect a lot more of these over multiple weeks. Honestly, feels a little bit like Battlegrounds beta. They didn't put a beta tag on this. It feels a little bit that way. I know for some people that is like a negative connotation. I'm all for it. So what actually changed? Skull of Gul'dan, I think, like public enemy number one. This is the closest thing I have seen to like a consensus by the community is Skull of Gul'dan is a broken ass card, and it did get nerfed. The mana cost was increased by 1. It went from 5 to 6. Is anyone surprised?
No. If anything, I mean, I don't necessarily know if its mana cost was the problem. I was maybe a little bit surprised that this was what they chose to do, because I think the mana reduction that you get on the cards that it draws is a little bit more of the problem. I
really thought this was going to be the first time we were going to see a rarity change to legendary, so you could only put one in your deck.
So you can only do it once. Yeah, I think that would be a good solution as well. But yeah, I was very surprised with them just increasing the mana cost to 6, because like when you think about like Nourish, which has a little bit of flex to it, but nowhere near the same kind of value as Skull of Gul'dan, like it's 6 to draw 3 too, but it doesn't feel this crazy broken.
You don't get a discount on the back of the draw.
Because you don't get the discount on the back of the draw. Exactly. And when you're drawing 3 cards and getting the discount, that means you're getting like 9 mana off of stuff that you chose to put in your deck too, right? So sometimes you're going to hit where, you discount maybe a 1 mana card or something, but it feels like much more often you're getting some extreme value and you're able to pair up already strong minions, because I think Demon Hunter just across the board has a very strong kit. So when your stuff is at its base mana cost, very, very strong, and then you layer on a 3 mana discount on top of something that's already strong for its base mana cost, it's just like, you feel as the opponent like there's nothing that you could do. So I'm surprised that the mana reduction didn't get decreased to 2 instead of 3. I thought that that would have been impactful enough, but I'm fine with them playing around with just the base mana cost of it too. I mean, yes, it does have to be Outcast, but I feel like every demon hunter that casts it, and this might be to your point about making it legendary, Garrett, it might be that like one of their skulls happens to be able to make its way all the way to the left side of their hand, and they're able to get that Outcast effect and they never have to do it again. But because they have 2 copies, they're able to manipulate their hand that way without too much of a downside. Like, I feel like Outcast just is so strong and powerful. And I mean, maybe that's the part of Demon Hunter that needs to be looked at, is like making Outcast like only the left side of your hand instead of the left and right. Like, make you play out of one side of your hand instead of being able to top deck stuff too. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I don't envy them trying to balance this.
Yeah, I think that's a little too radical. Because there's like you get your priestess far left. Well, cool. I don't get to Outcast until turn 8. Like if you made it just left side,
okay.
And then it makes the right side like so much more random because it puts so much weight on the top. I realize you're angry.
I'm not like angry. I just feel like I have been beaten by stuff that's like super out of my control when I have completely optimized my deck and my play, and it doesn't feel like they've done particularly anything special to earn what they're currently doing. And I think that's the thing, is like it just doesn't feel like their stuff has a lot of downsides.
I don't disagree with anything you've said, other than making Outcast left side only. Like that's just like,
yeah, literally, it just came into my head now. It's not a fully formed thought. It's just like I was like, you know what?
The forest because I stepped on a single nail while on my hike. Like,
yes,
let's calm down. I guess it's not a single nail. It's the forest. The forest is nothing but nails everywhere I step. But still, maybe we should napalm the forest. Anyway, let's also point out like this was a server side update, not like this was an update we didn't have to download. We didn't have to download anything. This is something they could do on the fly. So I would imagine there are certain limitations to what they can actually do with that type of update, right? Yeah. Like they had to tell us like, hey, you're not going to see these nerfs in your actual collection. It's going to be green and red text in an actual match of Hearthstone. It's the only time you're actually going to see these changes made. So... yeah, it's live now. It was supposed to go up live today, where it actually made everything white text and has made, apparently chat room saying it has gone up now. So cool. Mm-hmm. But Hachikuma's screwing with us. Damn it, Hachikumo! I'm gonna take your sword away. I'm kidding. Okay, you're a wonderful person.
So yeah, that means that the dust refunds now should be live as well, right?
Well, if Hachikumo was screwing with us, so apparently it's not live now, or it is live now. Literally can't tell. You said you were joking. Doesn't matter. I haven't been in the game because we're doing this show. So they said it was going to go up live today. It would make sense that it's live now. Whatever the case is, this came out so quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some sort of limitations to the type of balance changes that they can actually make. Like maybe card text they can't mess with, but like base values of like attack, health, durability, or mana cost is something they can tweak. I don't know. It's just something that kind of crossed my mind because of the unique way that this nerf was put out into the game. But yeah, moving on from Skull of Gul'dan, I think it's a good change. I do think they could also still go further. 7 mana seems like too much. Like you could just card draw that late in a deck that wants to, or a class that wants to play as fast as this class does, seems too late. So I would like to keep it in 6, but maybe draw 1 fewer cards, or as you suggested, less mana off on the Outcast trigger.
Well, both would have the same sort of effect, right? Because if you draw 2 cards, but you get 3 mana off, you're getting 6 mana off of your cards. If you're drawing 3 cards, getting 2 mana off, you're still saving 6 mana. So you're kind of like, it's the same thing. It's just you have the more like cards you draw, the more chances you have of hitting something that you want to, right? Like, and the risk is kind of spread out more, which is just better. I feel like I'm not explaining this properly, but like if you're only drawing 2 cards and you hit 1 card that was already a low cost, then it's like, oh, that feels bad. But if you're drawing 3, then you have like 2 more chances to hit a discount on something you want a big discount on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I get you. I follow.
Okay, I was like, I don't think I'm explaining this properly.
The
at
only
all,
thing
but
I guess I would critique you is that I already agreed with you before that explanation. Is like, I don't, whatever, just make it. The mana discount is a bit much.
Yeah, so 2 cards with 3 or 3 cards with 2. I think getting a total of 6 mana off is enough. You don't need 9 mana off your powerful cards.
No.
God damn it.
You do not need a 9 mana discount. I'm sorry if you drew Twin Slice. Allow me to not weep for you.
Yeah.
That's
basically, yes.
Yo problem. Because you can still, if they're not going to make it legendary, you can still hit another Skull of Gul'dan and discount it, which...
Yeah.
And then it came in with a bunch of other discounted cards. The chances that you can get rid of those cards to get Skull of Gul'dan on the Outcast is negligible at best. So there's so much to this. Anyway, we need to move on from Skull of Gul'dan. Imprisoned Antane is up next. And again, mana cost going from 5 to 6. I think this is actually really effective, like significantly more effective than Skull of Gul'dan. I like this nerf a lot. And it's because without Raging Fell Screamer, so that's 4/4 that discounts the next demon you play by 2. Without that 2 mana discount, like even without that, you could perfectly line up your Antane Awakening on turn 7, so it does 10 damage to only enemies, including face. So you could line it up to where perfectly awakens on turn 7 because all you did was play it on curve. You didn't even need to cheat it out with a Raging Fell Screamer. You can line it up on turn 7 with a Priestess of Fury. So that's 16 damage to only enemies, including face, on a single turn. That was ridiculous to me. I thought that was too perfect of a curve. With how much this class can draw, it's not that hard to pull off. So it's...
I feel like if they, like, maybe... I mean, mana changes are mana changes. They're the easiest ones, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like maybe if they just changed it so that one or both of these cards couldn't go face. So the imprisoned one, I know that you have time to plan for that. You know that that's going to happen. So maybe that one going face is still fine. But maybe if they changed Priestess to not be able to target face, because she happens at the end of every turn, right? So her effect never goes away until you kill her. So I wonder if like her just focusing a little bit more and becoming more of like a control card, like you have to deal with her, otherwise you're going to have trouble sticking minions to the board. I just feel like that's a little bit more fun and interactive instead of just like, oh, okay, that's 16 damage hit my face. Ouch.
Or you can make it that one of these potentially hurts you and your own minions.
Sure, yeah, the 10 damage happen. Well, yeah. I just feel that like because it's enemies only and that includes face, like this just feels a little bit too powerful, especially with, like I mentioned earlier, all the removal tools that they seem to have. It's like no matter how much I try to stick some stuff to absorb some of this incoming damage on what was turn 7 now might get pushed a little bit later or might not happen. This combo might not happen as often, but anyways, they seem to be able to clear anything I put down in the path of this regardless. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. It needed a change, but I think maybe the targeting of face on one or both of these is more where they need to be leaning in terms of a balance, but we'll see.
Yeah. I again would lean that damage being potentially detrimental to yourself or your own board rather than just getting rid of face damage entirely. Because it's like demons, like over in Warlock, they're getting hit by their own damn demons all the time. Why do the demon hunters get like the friendliest demons on the planet?
Yeah,
I mean, I get it.
They're part demon, maybe they speak demon. I don't know, but then like you'd think the demons were like, you absorbed my brother, arg.
Listen, I speak English, and there's plenty of English speakers that want to punch me in the face. Okay, like shared language.
I don't know.
Anyway,
because they're definitely both like from a lore perspective, and I promise this won't be a big tangent, but from a lore perspective,
I'm starting my timer now.
both demon hunters and warlocks, it is very much like a subjugating demons type relationship. So you would think that anything that demons do to warlocks, they would also do to demon hunters. So I agree with you that having some sort of like retribution against the person playing the demon, that seems to fit thematically across both classes. So I don't know why. You're right. There seems to be no, and this kind of goes back to my risk reward thing about demon hunters in general, is they don't seem to have a whole lot of downsides to the stuff that they do. Like, oh, boohoo, I have to play my cards from the left or right of my hand, but almost all my cards I'm playing have outcasts, so I get the bonuses anyways. So who cares? Like, they don't seem to have a lot of downsides. And I think hurting themselves or their minions would be a lore appropriate downside.
I concur, but I'm still very happy with the Antane change, because also it's still competing with Skull of Gul'dan, which is the closest thing to a downside you could have come up with, I think, before the nerfs. And also just the fact that this no longer perfectly curves into Priestess without a coin or running Raging Fell Screamer is a lot, in my opinion. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Imprisoned Antane adjusted further, much like School of Gul'dan. I-Beam is up next. The Outcast cost, just the Outcast cost, was increased from 0 to 1, which just made me giggle, because over in Wild, if this landed far left or far right in your opening hand, it didn't trigger Baku. Which I was like, oh, that seems like a bug you should probably fix. So now it'll be fine. Like that. This also fixes that. But also, like, 0 mana, like, you already had Twin Slice, which with 2 copies and it essentially being Twin Spell, even though it doesn't say Twin Spell, gave you 4 0 cost freaking cards. And the copies were guaranteed to go right side, so you're getting a lot of outcast value if you had an Altruist. You didn't also need I-Beam, which makes me really happy, because, like, to me, like, the surprise of all of this is the surprise lethal from Altruist combos. Like, when you're close to dying to the Demon Hunter, and you're like, all right, I survived the Antane and the Priestess BS. I'm still alive. Down comes Altruist. They cast all their freaking Twin Slices, and then they've got some I-Beams, and it's just 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. And plus, they just added 4 attack to their hero because of freaking all the Twin Slices, and they got through their taunt even without Kane because they did I-Beams, and they're also doing 1 damage to the whole board in your face the whole time. Altruist was a total sleeper too for me. And I-Beam going to 1 is a big deal for me, because it was just like one more cheap thing that helped me just go off with Altruist combos.
Yeah, I think cheap is fine. 0 is problematic. And I mean, I can't even remember when it was, but it was a few expansions ago when I was talking about this, because Priest got 1. And I was like, oh, you have to be so careful with 0 mana cards, especially if they deal damage. And this, dealing damage for 0 mana, just, oh man, it's the worst.
It's a lot. Yeah. And even outside
cheap
of Altruist.
Is good.
Yeah, even outside of Altruist, there was just like the ability to have removal for free. All it cost you was the card out of your hand. It was a big play for them. And 1 is still really cheap. So, and then finally Eldrazi Warblades, which I haven't seen a lot of complaint about, but this card was so powerful. The durability was decreased on these from 3 to 2. This was the 2/3 that had Lifesteal Weapon. Now it's a 2 attack, 2 durability with Lifesteal. Still good. Like this.
Well, it's still good because it gives your hero attack Lifesteal. So because of all the different things that they have in order to buff their hero's attack value, they're getting that whole Lifesteal value. Like it's almost like the number of times they get to do it doesn't even really matter, because the 2 durabilities, so the 2 attacks, the 2 turns with the Warblades active, you just pile on all of your attack buffing cards, swing with it, and no matter what I've done in the previous turns, you've just healed by 10, 12, whatever. Like, you're basically back to full in 1 or 2 turns. Like, they didn't need the 3rd turn, and the attack value on the weapon is almost irrelevant.
Yeah. And the most popular list right now is running 2 copies of Twin Slice and 2 copies of Chaos Strike. On top of Blade Dance, which I don't think, does Blade Dance trigger the Lifesteal if you have, I don't think it does. No, because it's dealing damage equal to your hero's attack.
It's your hero's attack, yeah. It has nothing to do with your weapon,
Yeah, it doesn't matter because I'm usually at 30, because there's so much freaking Lifesteal between this weapon and I-Beam. Easy to forget that also has Lifesteal for some reason. Why does that card have lifesteal?
I don't know, Garrett. I don't know. I can't. I'm trying so hard.
It's so strange. It's so freaking strange. Yeah, but Blade Dance is the 2 mana deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. Which I've mostly just been using to remove the 1/1s from Umberwing from the opposing Demon Hunter. So it's
ridiculous.
It's silly. It's a little silly. But Eldrazi Warblades, even though I didn't see it being the target of a lot of concerns from the player base, I think was a big kind of offender of the power level of Demon Hunter. So I'm happy to see this. I'm really happy to see this adjusted. They're also going to be reducing the offering rates of a ton of Demon Hunter cards in Arena. That full list can be found on the official forums. I'm not going to read them all off here because it would literally sound like I was reading the phone book.
Yeah, it's basically Demon Hunter cards.
Yes. Yes. Needed to be dealt with. And then Ixar also informed us that they have another patch planned for late next week that's going to address further changes that they want to make to Constructed, Battlegrounds, and Arena. So I would expect more Demon Hunter balancing if it's looking like we're going to need it, which at the moment, again, it's been less than 24 hours since the nerf landed, but it still looks like we may need it. The most popular Demon Hunter list has been slowly falling all day on HS Replay, but slowly. It went from 60 to 58% today, win rate. But I would still expect to see that. So interesting things going on in the world of Hearthstone with Demon Hunter. So I've definitely noticed an improvement today. Not every game.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw some people playing classes that weren't Demon Hunter like more regularly. There's still some classes that I haven't really seen at all, but I've definitely seen the number of Demon Hunters decrease slightly. I just accidentally opened up my stats for Arena, which is not a thing I've been playing. Hang on. So yeah, I'm still seeing like almost 50% of my games are against Demon Hunter, but yeah, I also saw a warrior and a priest. So yay.
Yeah. The next most class I've seen is Druid, which makes sense because they were already holding their own before the nerfs and they're doing quite well post nerfs. So that's the other one I've seen.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't actually seen I haven't seen Druid. So.
I've seen a couple Libram Paladins. I've seen quite a few Hunters. Well, like Dragon Hunter didn't lose anything, which we'll talk about this more in a minute, but it's been some interesting things. So like kind of as much as we can in conclusion about Demon Hunter for now, for the sake of this episode, like it was a wild first 24 hours. It absolutely needed to be addressed in my opinion. And I look forward to this being a distant memory.